7 steps to rise even when no one is by your side. There are seasons when life feels like climbing a fog-wrapped mountain. No one beside you, no cheering crowd, no witnesses. Still, you walk, you try, you keep your promise to yourself while the outside world stays eerily quiet. 7 steps to rise even when no one is by your side is not a slogan. It's a vow you will hear again in this journey. No one says, "I'm proud of you." No one sees the battles you fight in silence. And you wonder, is it worth it if no one sees? Yet in that solitude, another kind of strength begins to form. A strength that doesn't depend on praise or applause. Carl Jung wrote that every rebirth begins with dissolution. When there's no one left to lean on, it isn't the end. It's a sign your soul is preparing to step into a new stage where you become your own source of power. In today's video, we walk that path, the 7 steps to rise even when no one is by your side. It's in the moment you stop waiting for someone to lift you that a deeper truth emerges. Everything you chased in the outer world, strength, love, calm, has always lived within, waiting to awaken. When that awakening comes, you don't just rise, you begin walking with your own light. Before we go deeper, take a moment and make sure you're part of this journey. Subscribe to White Side of Black Coded, because here we don't just talk about success, we decode the silent forces that shape it. Every week, I reveal the hidden psychology behind wealth, power, and human behavior. Truths most people will never hear in their lifetime. Let's dive in. Loneliness, the silent forge of strength. There are moments when the world seems to pull away. Familiar conversations no longer energize you. People who once walked with you feel distant. On the surface, nothing changes, your job, your relationships, but inside, something is shifting. Few tell you this is the beginning of growth because many are afraid of this stage. For Jung, it is the first sign of the night sea journey, the dark night of the soul. When the old world no longer fits, you must pass through your deepest shadow, loneliness. The loneliness Jung described isn't merely being alone in a quiet room. It's the ache of feeling detached from what once made you belong. You still smile, you still speak, but your soul isn't stirred by what surrounds you. The world starts speaking a language you no longer understand, and you are left with yourself. Many think reaching this place means failure. In truth, it's the moment your soul begins to pull away from the persona, the mask that helped you fit in. "No one understands me" is not proof you're lost, it's evidence you're nearing your true self. Jung believed real maturity begins when you dare to face yourself in solitude. Not when someone listens, but when every external voice goes quiet and you finally hear the inner one. Many try to outrun this stage into work, relationships, and distractions that blur the emptiness. But avoidance makes the emptiness grow. Loneliness doesn't come to punish you, it comes to deepen you, to help rebuild your foundation from within. I once knew a woman who, after divorce, felt utterly disoriented. Her life had been full of friends and laughter, then silence. Instead of filling the void with dates or constant work, she learned to sit with herself. Minutes at first, then hours. She cooked, read, journaled, and faced the questions she always avoided. Months later, she said, "Silence is no longer my enemy. It's where I finally hear myself." That is what Jung called meeting the self, the moment you stop running and start returning home.
With no one to depend on, pressure turns to discipline and inner steadiness. Like a climber without a rope, each step becomes a conscious decision, each action a promise to yourself. Every promise kept becomes a brick in your strength. Loneliness doesn't arrive to weaken you, it arrives to make you unshakable. It's the gym of the soul, where your essence is forged into steel. Looking back, those quiet months are often your strongest. Picture an oak in winter. While other trees shed their leaves, the oak stands alone in cold wind. No blossoms, no color. But beneath the surface, its roots deepen, preparing for spring. We are the same. Every lonely season is the soul's winter. If you stay long enough, you'll see spring waiting behind it. Jung said, "In all chaos, a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order." If you are standing in the darkness of loneliness, don't be afraid. It isn't weakness. It's proof you're leaving the old path to open a new one. The soul, to be reborn, must first dissolve. Only when the outer world quiets can you hear the inner voice whisper, "It's time to rise." Remember, no one is coming to carry you. That's not bad news. That's the birth of true power. No one can hand you resilience, but loneliness can teach you to forge it. Every long night you endure doesn't just overcome fear, it rewrites your story. And this is how you begin the 7 steps to rise, even when no one is by your side. Stop seeking emotional comfort from others. After learning to stand in solitude, a deeper realization appears. What exhausts you isn't isolation, it's expecting someone else to fill the silence within. Jung once said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around, but from being unable to communicate the things that matter most." When your stability depends on another, every delay, withdrawal, or unmet response feels like collapse. That isn't love, it's emotional dependency, which Jung saw as the sign of an unintegrated ego. After the stage of the lonely warrior, the next lesson is learning to soothe yourself. When you stop chasing reassurance and approval, the self can finally take the lead. A woman in a group therapy session once admitted that she spiraled whenever her boyfriend didn't text back. She checked her phone constantly, imagining the worst. "It's irrational," she said, "but in his silence, I feel like I don't exist." With time, she traced the fear back to childhood. When she was sad, her parents said, "Don't be dramatic," or walked away. Her unconscious translated that as, "Your feelings don't matter." Since then, she kept searching for someone to prove they did. Jung called this the trap of projection, using others as mirrors for our worth. When they respond, we feel valuable. When they withdraw, we lose our center. But no one can be your savior forever. The more you depend on others for stability, the more you lose the ability to regulate yourself. Self-soothing isn't coldness, it's the skill of becoming the one who listens to your own emotions. When sadness rises, instead of running to be calmed, you stay, hand over heart, and whisper, "I'm still here." That simple act begins emotional independence, an essential stage of individuation when you stop merging with the collective and become an autonomous self. Someone who knows how to comfort themselves doesn't need constant responses to feel worthy. They don't need instant replies or compliments to keep going. They can sit quietly in a cafe, alone, and feel complete. That isn't indifference, it's freedom from the need to be validated. Jung wrote that all forms of dependence are the shadow of love. We call it attachment, but underneath is the fear of abandonment. The immature ego wants someone to confirm its worth. Look deeply into that fear, and you'll find it's not emptiness, it's an invitation to become the parent you once needed but never had. Then you understand what you thought only others could give you. You always had the power to give yourself. In contemporary psychology, this is emotional independence. It isn't rejecting love or connection, it's refusing to hand control of your emotions to anyone else. You still love, you still connect, but you don't lose yourself when things change. When someone leaves, you grieve, but you don't collapse. When someone goes silent, you listen, but your worth remains intact. Those with emotional independence don't need rescuers. They can lift themselves, wipe their own tears, and keep moving. Only from that place can they love truly, not out of need, but out of choice. Perhaps this is what Jung meant by the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Because when you stop seeking comfort from others, you start seeing your own power, a power that cannot be borrowed or taken away. From the moment you stop waiting for someone to make you happy, you begin to grow up. If you are in that stage, no one understands, no one comforts, no one lifts you. Remember, no one coming doesn't mean you're alone. It means it's time to stand on your own feet. Whisper, I don't need anyone to save me. I only need to stop abandoning myself. That is the second turn in the 7 steps to rise, even when no one is by your side. If you're there now, take it as a sign of maturation. Comment one word, still, to say you stand with yourself, even when no one else stands beside you. Stop complaining. Retire the victim language. After solitude and self-soothing comes a quieter test, quitting the habit of complaint. Complaining is how the ego anchors you in the comfort zone, where you can keep the identity of victim and feel justified in not changing. The irony is that each complaint strengthens the belief that you are powerless. Unconsciously you say, I have no strength. Jung called this the shadow of self-pity. In that darkness, you stop acting and start repeating one question, why me? As if the universe owes you fairness, as if the world owes you an explanation. But the true question isn't why me, it's what can I do with this? The moment the question changes, the energy trapped in complaint begins to move. Jung also said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. When you complain, the unconscious pilots the ship and you become a victim of circumstance. But when you examine the emotion fueling the complaint, you step out of shadow and return to the helm. Complaining is clever. It feels like doing something while you stay still. It's delayed action disguised as expression. Blaming circumstances drains the energy you need to change them. People may hurt you, but only you decide whether that hurt becomes a chain or a lesson. Picture a stone at the bottom of a river. The current grinds and crashes over it. Over time, the same force that seemed destructive polishes the stone smooth and luminous. Life is the same. It doesn't pause because you complain. It keeps moving, testing, shaping. Endure the flow instead of cursing it, and you become stronger, clearer, more beautiful than before.
Complaint feeds the victim ego, the part that wants someone else to carry responsibility for your pain. That ego enjoys pity because as long as you are a victim, you are exempt from responsibility. But that is the fastest way to stay stuck. Each time you stop complaining and act, no matter how small, you reclaim energy from the unconscious. You rise not because someone pushed you, but because you chose to leave the dark. Complaint often hides in small sentences. I'm so tired. No one understands me. I try so hard and no one notices. They seem harmless, but they feed the ego that believes happiness is delivered from the outside. Strong people do not need the world to comfort them. They look directly at their pain, name it, and ask, now what can I do? A viewer once told me that after her friends betrayed her, she spent 6 months submerged in bitterness. I told anyone who would listen how awful they were, she said. Then I realized I was telling the same story for half a year. That night she wrote, if no one were there to hear me complain, would I still tell this story? The answer was no. The next day, she started writing what she wanted to learn, change, and create. It wasn't their leaving that hurt me, she said. It was how long I clung to the story. Stopping complaint doesn't mean denying pain. It means refusing to live inside it. Feel sadness, disappointment, grief, but redirect the energy toward building something new. Each act, however small, declares, I am no longer a victim of this. Jung wrote, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Choosing to stop complaining and start acting is the doorway to a more powerful life. Each time you drop why me and choose what can I do with this, you take another step in the 7 steps to rise even when no one is by your side. Not through pity, through the quiet strength of taking responsibility for your becoming. Then you see you were never truly alone. You were too busy complaining to hear your own soul calling. Become your own source of validation. After abandoning complaint and embracing action, you face the silence of being unseen. You work hard, you show up, you give your best, and no one applauds. For many, this is where they quit, not because hardship scares them, but because invisibility does.
Yet it is precisely in this recognitionless moment that life tests whether you can keep going without a spotlight. Jung said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." Real self-acceptance ends the habit of hiding behind others' opinions. You no longer need compliments, proof, or witnesses, because you have become your own witness. Think of Cassandra in Greek myth, blessed with prophecy, cursed never to be believed. She saw truth before disaster, yet people dismissed her as mad. Even in isolation, she didn't go silent. She kept speaking, loyal to what she saw. Her story is a metaphor for strong souls, those who honor their truth in silence, even when the world refuses to see. Sometimes being believed matters less than being true to yourself. In modern life, many give everything and meet only silence. I spoke with a woman who was often the last in the office, yet when awards were given, someone else was praised. She said, "I felt invisible." One day she stopped working to be seen and began working to see herself. With each project she wrote what she did well and rewarded herself with a quiet ritual, a coffee, a book, a walk. External validation lasts minutes, self-recognition stays for days. That is the shift from the dependent ego to the self, the mature center of consciousness. Those who live from the self act not for praise, but because action expresses who they are. They don't need an audience to know their worth. Their value doesn't come from applause, it flows from inner truth. In the end, external validation is only a reflection. Those who haven't seen their own light will chase it in others' eyes. Those who've seen it within carry it wherever they go. They no longer need others to believe because their belief has become foundation. Jung wrote, "Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people." When you dare to see both weakness and strength inside, you no longer require the world to prove anything. You are no longer ruled by the fear of not enough, because you know you are enough. Self-validation isn't arrogance. It is a deep form of respect. You know you're still imperfect, still becoming, and you hold yourself with both hands, shadow and light. Those who validate themselves don't deny their flaws, they read them as evidence of growth. Mistakes do not reduce worth, they make the path more real. Steel hardens in fire, so does the soul. Silence, neglect, and lack of recognition are flames that strengthen your core. When no one else validates you, you are compelled to look inward, and in that gaze, you discover you are stronger than you believed. When you truly embrace that, something quiet and powerful happens. You begin to glow from within. Others may not name it, but they feel your presence steady, calm, grounded, not because you perform, but because you no longer need to prove. Applause fades, gaze turns away, but your own gaze, warm and honest, becomes a flame that doesn't die. That flame is how you continue the 7 steps to rise even when no one is by your side. Not through pity, through the quiet strength of taking responsibility for your becoming. Then you see you were never truly alone. You were too busy complaining to hear your own soul calling. Rise quickly. Turn failure into fire. Even after becoming stronger and calmer, you will still fall, often where you cared most. Failure, in its truest sense, is stumbling on the path you believed in. The times you thought the ego was conquered, yet one word or event shakes you again. Shame creeps in. Loneliness tempts you to become the pleasing version others adored, just to be accepted again. But those falls don't arrive to destroy you. They reveal what remains unhealed, parts still waiting to be integrated and loved. Each time you fall, the shadow returns, not punishment, illumination. It lights up hidden arrogance, fear of criticism, hunger for approval. And when you rise again without applause or support, the self expands. In a letter to Freud, Jung wrote, "Mistakes are, after all, the foundations of truth. Failure doesn't weaken you, it makes you real. Only when no one catches you do you learn to walk with your own strength."
I knew a woman who built a small business. After years of effort, a co-founder betrayed her, and she lost nearly everything. Months of guilt and fear followed. Then her therapist asked, "If this isn't an ending, but a lesson, what is it teaching you?" She grew quiet and said, "Maybe I never truly listened to my intuition." From then, she journaled daily, not to complain, but to record what the pain was teaching. A year later, she reopened, smaller but steadier. "I'm not afraid to fall now," she said. "Each fall makes me more honest." That's how failure becomes fire. You can't grow in permanent safety. Safety lulls the unconscious to sleep. Hitting bottom burns away pretense and leaves the soul bare. From a neuroscience view, failure activates the brain's anterior cingulate cortex, the gap between expectation and reality. Respond with fear and self-blame, and cortisol freezes you. Take even a small action, and the prefrontal cortex lights up. Dopamine returns, progress, and hope. Regret paralyzes. Action heals. Think of the phoenix, reborn by fire. When it grows old, it dives into flames, sheds what no longer serves, and rises brighter. Humans are the same. If you dare to rise from your own ashes, you'll see what burned away wasn't you, it was the shell whose time had passed. Jung wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Face wounds without judgment, and they stop being enemies. They become teachers." In pain, awareness is born. Only by touching your wounds do you touch your humanity. With every failure, you choose. Let it define you, or let it refine you. "I'm a failure" locks you in the past. "I'm learning" opens the future. Rock bottom isn't the end, it's the ground you push off from. Strong souls aren't born from comfort, they're forged in collapse. Metal becomes a sword only after heat. Humans find true strength when they face failure and refuse to retreat. Falling doesn't make you weak, staying down does. Shake off the ashes, face the mistake, take one honest step. One day, you'll see the sacred purpose of each fall, not to break you, but to reveal the steadier, truer version of you. Don't wait for rescue. Rise quickly, rise firmly, with a warm heart. Become the flame that can't be extinguished. Will over emotion. Act without waiting for inspiration. After learning to rise, the next lesson is acting when you don't feel ready. If solitude forged strength, discipline makes you shine. Jung described will as the energy that can reorganize the psyche, not just the force to do, but the power to rise above passing emotion in service of lasting meaning. If you act only when inspired, the ego still rules, the part that seeks comfort. When you act beyond feeling, you stop needing motivation. You align with a higher order where action flows from purpose, not mood. Inspiration is a gift. Discipline is foundation. There will be days with no motivation, no hope, no meaning. If on those days you still sit down and make even one small move, you're training your greatest power, will over emotion. Many lose their life force waiting for inspiration instead of cultivating will. If you only act when excited, life becomes full of beginnings and empty of mastery. Inspiration is wind. It comes and goes. Will is direction. It moves the ship when the wind dies. Psychologist Angela Duckworth calls this grit, passion, and perseverance. Extraordinary achievers aren't the most talented. They're the ones who act when enthusiasm fades, especially when no one is cheering. Jung said, "Freedom of will is the ability to do gladly that which I must do." Freedom is not doing only what you like. It's doing what is necessary, gladly. When you rise above moods, you stop being their victim and become their guide. A friend, a single mother with 2 jobs, woke at 5 a.m. daily, cooking, working, surviving. Eventually, she was drained. "I've lost all passion," she said. Then her son asked,
"Mom, what happened to your dream?" Something shifted. That night, she started again, not for inspiration, but responsibility. She began small, waking 15 minutes earlier to read, writing 3 daily goals, and saving every spare pound for her bakery dream. Some days she was exhausted, but she kept going. "I stopped waiting for motivation," she said. "I needed will. My son needs to see his mother not give up." A year later, she opened a small bakery. No help, no cheer, just steady steps. She learned willpower isn't a feeling, it's a decision to continue even with a heavy heart. Action creates inspiration, not the other way around. Strong-willed people aren't emotionless. They still fear, doubt, and tire, but they act for something greater. Values, commitments, integrity. Each time they do what's right over what's easy, they strengthen the bridge between ego and soul, between the small self and the mature self. One day, you'll notice your most defining progress didn't occur in excitement, but in resistance, especially when you are alone. Those are the moments that shape you, not because they're easy, but because you refuse to let mood or loneliness steer your course. If today you feel uninspired, unseen, unsupported, remember, none of that is required to move. You need one honest decision to begin, not perfectly, not dramatically, simply start. Consistency will carry you farther than anyone who tried to help you. Share your story in the comments if you've kept going alone. Your flame may keep someone from giving up today. This is how you keep living the 7 steps to rise, even when no one is by your side. You don't need to be understood. Everything you seek is within. After all the quiet effort, you may realize you've done everything right, walked, worked, stayed faithful to the path, and the outer world remains silent. No one knows, no one understands, no one says, "Thank you." In that quiet, an emptiness arises. Do these efforts matter? This is the final lesson. When no one is left to lean on, you must find your own light. When you crave understanding, you're still asking others to validate your existence. But no one can truly understand you. Only you know the depths of your inner journey. Jung wrote, "Your visions become clear when you look into your own heart. The answers you seek are already within you. You need enough stillness to hear them." After years of living to be understood, you learn that not everyone can meet you at your depth. Some only see what keeps them comfortable, and that's not their fault. In a world where most are searching for themselves, few can truly see another soul. When you stop expecting understanding from the outside, you return inward, where fear and courage, pain and healing, darkness and light begin to harmonize.
Anyone to confirm your enoughness, you only need to be true to your soul, and that is enough. When that happens, you stop looking for saviors because you've become your own. I once heard of a young painter who, after years of creating for trends and sales, fell into exhaustion. She rented a small lake house, cut all communication for a month, and painted to listen, not to show or sell. When she returned, her art was raw, alive, soulful. A Berlin gallery discovered her work and invited her to exhibit. She said, "When I stopped trying to be seen, people began to truly see me." That's the paradox Jung described. When you stop seeking outwardly, you develop inward gravity. Creative energy, love, wisdom, they don't arise from being understood, but from accepting yourself, even the parts no one else understands. Be like a lighthouse at night. It doesn't shout to be seen or move to seek attention. It simply stands, shining. In doing so, it guides those who are lost. Humans are the same. When you stand in your own light without needing recognition, your presence becomes a guide. Jung wrote, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." Stop asking the world, "Who am I?"
Ask yourself, what do I truly need? As the veil lifts, you'll find clarity. Carl Rogers put it simply, the curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. No one will fully understand you, and that doesn't mean you can't be loved. Real love doesn't require full understanding, only full acceptance. When you accept your complexity, depth, and contradiction, you radiate an energy that makes others feel safe. Strangely, when you stop seeking someone to understand you, you begin to be understood, not through explanation, but through presence. The ones meant for your life will feel it without you having to argue for it. If life has exhausted you with the demand to be understood, rest. Sit in silence, hand over heart. Listen. That inner voice, soft but steady, knows the way, what to release, where to go, how to begin again. Then you realize you were never incomplete. Everything you searched for, love, peace, understanding, are faces of one thing, coming home to yourself. This is how you rise when no one stands with you, not through the noise of proving, but the quiet of awakening. A person who rises alone is not someone without pain, but someone who makes loneliness a teacher, silence a fuel, and every fall a foundation for strength. They don't live to be seen, they live to be honest with their soul. When the world goes silent, they listen within. When no one believes, they keep faith. In the space that once felt empty, a different power is born, a power that needs no proof. In the end, this journey isn't about becoming unbreakable. It's about becoming authentic with your fears, your will, and your own light. When you stop waiting to be saved, you see you were never weak. You simply hadn't discovered how strong you truly are. If this message stirred something in you, share it. Someone out there needs the reminder that they are strong enough to stand up and keep believing. And don't forget to subscribe to the White Side of Black Coded. This journey has only begun. The journey of becoming yourself, steady, clear, and free, even when no one stands beside you. 7 steps to rise, even when no one is by your side. Carry it with you. Let it become your rhythm when the world is quiet.